together. So we'll offer these blessings. We'll open the formula of Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam, and then we'll go to the English. And join us either in the Hebrew, the English, or in the Amen that follows each blessing. Page 80. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. And now the English. Who has given the mind the ability to distinguish day from night. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Who opens the eyes of the blind.
Amen.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Who frees the captive.
Amen. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Who lifts up the fallen.
82.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Who stretches the earth over the waters.
Amen.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Who strengthens our steps.
Amen. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Who clothes the naked.
Amen.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Who gives strength to the weary.
Amen.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Who removes sleep from the eyes and slumber from the eyelids. 84. Amen.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Who made me in the image of God.
Amen.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Who has made me free.
Amen.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Who has made me a Jew, or whatever spiritual path I follow.
Amen, amen. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Who girds Israel with strength.
Amen.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Who crowns Israel with splendor.
Amen.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam.
Who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to engage with words of Torah. Amen. So that's a blessing for Torah study. Now we will study a passage of Torah. Turn to 88 for a little ancient wisdom on how to be there for each other, how to show up. Thank you for showing up this morning. We show up for each other in the fancy moments when we put on the suit, and we show up for each other for some of the more mundane moments, for all the spectrum of life. Elu devarim she'en lahem shiur. Join with me in the English. These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit in this world while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study, morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all. We now get ready to rise for the Baruch Hu 108, and as we do so, rising, we invite up our Bar Mitzvah. Page 108. Please stand if you're able. Continuing on 110.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uvorei choshech osei shalom uvorei et hakol.
In the beginning, even then, a new light was sown for the righteous, a promise that your light would become the catalyst first for order and then for hope. Author of language and light, help us to use words as you have to cast light into the dark waters and draw out justice and truth.
Baruch atah Adonai Yotzei HaMeoru.
And now on 112.
Ahava Rabbah, Ahava Rabbah, Ahava Rabbah, Ahavtanu, Ahavtanu, Adonai Eloheinu. Ahava Rabbah, Ahava Rabbah, Ahava Rabbah, Ahavtanu, Ahavtanu, Adonai Eloheinu. How deeply you have loved us. How deeply you have loved us. How deeply you have loved us. Adonai Eloheinu.
How deeply you have loved us, Adonai, our God, gracing us with surpassing compassion on account of our forebears who trust led you to teach them the laws of life. Be gracious to us, teaching us as well. O merciful one, have mercy on us by making us able to understand and discern, to heed, learn, and to teach, and lovingly to observe, perform, and fulfill all that is in your Torah.
והערנו בתורתך ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך ויחל לבבינו יאהבה ויראה את שמך לא נבוש ולא ניכלם ולא ניכשל לעולם ועד כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא פתחנו נגילה ונשמחה נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ ותוליכנו כמיור לארצנו כי אל פועל ישועות אתה ובנו בחרת וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול סלע עת להודות לך ויחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
We continue on page 120 as Josh leads us in the words of, page 116 as Josh leads us in the words of Ve'ahavta in the middle of the page.
You shall love your Adonai with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to the heart these instructions which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home, and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand and let them serve as symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on your doorsteps of your house and on your gates. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God.
Adonai Elohechem Emet.
Continuing on 122.
We are all on journeys. Sometimes those journeys present challenges we think we cannot overcome. But the most important step in the journey of 1,000 miles is that first step. We take that first step with a measure of faith, knowing that God is with us.
Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot osef ele, nora tehilot osef ele. Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים לשמך, עשבת הים יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ויאמרו Adonai yimlok leolam va'ed. Zuhu Yisrael, Kuma be'ezrat Yisrael, Ufedeichinu mecha, Yehuda ve'Yisrael. Go aleinu, Adonai tzevaot shemo, Kedosh Yisrael. Baruch Ata Adonai Ga'al Yisrael.
We rise now, if we're able, turning to 124 for the Amidah.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yadi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu ve'imoteinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzhak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא אל עליון גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו ביהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. Page 128. אתה גיבור לעם אדוני מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע מוריד הטל מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו, משני עפר, מחמוך בעל גבורות, ומדון מלך, מלך מנית, ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. We're on page 130. נקדש את שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב היה נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש קדוש קדוש, אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ כבודו. אדיר, אדירנו אדוני, אדוננו, מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו ומלכנו, הוא מושיענו וכו ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גורלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
we take a moment for our own private silent prayer, either the prayers on the following pages or just the silence prayers of your own heart. And when you're done, you can be seated. We'll meet up in just a few minutes.
שים שלום, טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים ורחמים עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל ישראל עמך, ברכנו יוצרנו כולנו כאחד, באור פניך. כי באור פניך נתת לנו, אדוני אלוהינו, שים שלום, טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים ורחמים עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל ישראל עמך, תורה חיים ואהבה חסד, ואהבה חסד, וצדקה וברכה ורחמים וחיים ושלום. שים שלום, טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים ורחמים עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל ישראל עמך, וטוב וטוב בעיניך, וברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה, בשלומך שים שלום, טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים ורחמים עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל ישראל עמך, ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום.
We continue and conclude our Amidah, our prayers, with one final plea for peace, not just wholeness, but peace, at the bottom of page 142.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael.
Wow, thank you, Cantor. That was amazing. So we now have come to the moment, Josh, we're here. It's the Torah service. Oh my goodness, calling up your parents and your sister going to help us open the ark. We are on page 244. And if we're able, we all have to stand up too, because that ark is about to open.
Ein kemocha v'Elohim Adonai, ve'ein kema'asecha. Malchutecha malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha bechol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai oz le'amo yitein. Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. Av harachamim heitiva birtzonecha et Zion. Tivnecha mod Yerushalayim, Tivnecha mod Yerushalayim. Ki v'chal levad batachnu, Melech Elam b'nisra, Adon olamim. Page 246. Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Udevar Adonai miYerushalayim. Next page. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Le'amo Yisrael, B'kedushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Gadol Adonai iti, uneromema shemo yachdav. Lecha Adonai hagedola ve'hagevara ve'atiferet ve'hanetzach ve'havod. Kichol b'shamayim u'va'aretz, kichol b'shamayim u'va'aretz. Lecha Adonai הממלכה ימיק נעשה לכל לראש. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו.
I don't know if you have a preference, Josh, or not, but so you've been using that one? Yeah. You get to decide. You can be seated. We know that you can be seated when the Torah is seated. When the Torah sits, we get to sit.
So Josh will be reading this morning from Parshat Nitzavim. It's chapter 29 of the book of Deuteronomy, beginning with verse 9. And for the first Aliyah, it's my honor to call up grandparents Burton and Minette Levy.
Burton and Minette are remote Zoom.
To call you up remotely. What a miracle you're able to be with us. Ya'amdu la'aliyah rishona. Okay, whenever you're ready, go for it.
It's you, I think.
Mazel tov. You look great.
So say it, you got to.
You ready?
Baruch Adonai Hambara Leilon Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bacha banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et tarato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Atem nitzavim hayom kulehem lifnei Adonai Elohehem Rashehem Shiftehem Zignehem Veshotrehem Kol Israel Taphem Nisehem Vegerahav Asher Bekerev Mahaneha Mehote Etzeha Shoev Meimeha.
Your turn.
And now the closing blessing for the grandparents. Go for it.
Is it still Burton and Minette?
Yes.
What?
Still Burton and Minette.
Go ahead, Burton and
You
Minette, at the closing blessing.
Burton and Minette, the closing blessing. Take it away.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'kayei kolam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Josh, I see where, at least in part, where you get your Hebrew from. Your strong Hebrew. All right, Grandpa's great. Good for you. Okay.
And for the second Aliyah, a second set of grandparents, what an amazing thing to be coming into this moment with your grandparents present. So come on up, Larry and Linda. La Aliyah Shniya.
Which is our thing? Which one? Start this one. Okay. Yep, this one. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch atah hamborach la'am v'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'cho b'ainu michol hamim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
You'll be after Joshua. After Joshua.
Okay.
Amen. Leovrecha, Ivrit, Adonai Elohecha, Uvalato, Asher Adonai Elohecha, Koret, Imha Hayom, Leman Hakimoteha, Hayom Lo, La'a, Lehu, Yele, Leha, Lelohim, Ka Asher Dibela, Veha Asher Nishba, La Avateha, Litamiram Lita, Uvia Akko.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet. V'chayai olam nata oruchunu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Beautiful grandparents. Thank you. Wonderful.
Mazel tov. Okay, and now Damon and Jean, it's your turn. Of course. Ya'amdu dan bihudi shlishi. Baruch et Adonai Hamavorach. Baruch Adonai Hamavorach leolam va'ed. Baruch Adonai Hamavorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bacha banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Velot imhem yidadahem. Anohi koret et habrid hazo ve'et halat hazo. Ki et asher yishano po. Imanu ome hayom lifne Adonai Eloheinu. Ve'et asher eineinu po. Imanu hayom.
Baruch
atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata v'tokenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. And everybody stay right where you are, because this is the moment when your son and grandson and brother and dear family member and friend and cousin becomes a bar mitzvah. Ya'amod, ya'amod, ya'amod. Havachor habar mitzvah. Moshe ben Dan v'Yehudit Chazan.
Baruch et Adonai Hamavorach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamavorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol hamim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Ki atem yidatem et asher yashavnu בארץ מצרים, ואת אשר עברנו בקרב הגויים אשר עברתם. ועתרו את שיקוציהם, את גילוליהם, את ואבן כסף וזהב אשר עמהם. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayei olam natan botenu. Baruch atah Adonai notei haTorah.
Amen.
You did it. Okay. So everyone could take a seat. We're going to cover the Torah with its mantle and take a moment.
Here, Skylar, would you go get the Torah cover over there?
With the Torah, though still before us,
Here,
before
Skylar, put it here if you would.
we dress the Torah and place it back in the ark, we take a moment for Misha Berach, our prayer for healing.
Great, you guys can sit.
The words to Misha Berach can be found on page 253, inviting you to think of anyone in your life in need of healing. You can put their name in the chat. We channel the strength and beauty of this moment of healing to all those who need it. 253.
משברך אבותינו, מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. משברך אמותינו, מקור הברכה לאבותינו. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
And offering now a prayer for our congregation, inviting virtually Casey Bowen and family. We're on page 258. It's an honor to have the Bowens with us.
Oh. Good job, everyone. Source of all being, may the children of this community learn these passions from us: love of Torah, devotion and prayer, and support of the needy. May we guide with integrity, and may our leadership be in your service. May those who teach and nourish us be blessed with satisfaction, and may we appreciate their time and their devotion. Bless us with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy. Baruch atah Adonai, she'a'ot levacha v'yirad na'avod.
Amen. Thank you so much,
Beautiful.
Casey. Thank you.
Your presence with us is truly a blessing. And now calling up Suzanne, Aunt Suzanne, to offer a prayer for our nation. We're on page 258. No, she's.
O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and may our country be sound in body and spirit. Amen.
Amen. And Uncle Noah will be offering a prayer for Israel, the state of Israel, 259 at the bottom, the English words. You're young, but if you want the big font, you can do whichever. Oh, you're going to offer in Hebrew?
Well, no, I just carried my friend. I could have. Avienu Shebechai Shamayim. Yeah, here, do the English here. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread it over the canopy of your peace. Send your life and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land of fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Quite all right.
And now for the raising and dressing of the Torah. Damon, you're up for lifting the Torah. The words that we offer are on the bottom of 252. When the Torah rises, we will rise as well. And dressing of the Torah, Janine and Skylar.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. תורה, 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 ציווה לנו משה. תורה, 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 ציווה לנו משה. Torah, 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 ציווה לנו משה. Torah, 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 ציווה לנו משה.
We need your help. La 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 la
Shabbat Shalom. My portion is Nitzavim.
Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you guys hear?
Move a little closer to the mic if you can. There, and shout it.
Yeah, that's good.
Under the tree.
All right. Shabbat Shalom. My Torah portion is Nitzavim. We read this portion every year shortly before the holidays. This coming Friday night, we celebrate Rosh Hashanah, our Jewish New Year. Every year at this time, we try to look back and think about our victories and our losses, our mistakes in the past year, and to reflect on our thoughts, our words, and our choices. One thing that I'm learning is that the past can affect the future. I want to try not to repeat the mistakes I have made. I can also learn from the mistakes other people have made. All of us can use information from the past to make our future better. In preparing my speech, Rabbi Meir and I talked about some very big questions and some of life's most complicated questions. How did creation happen? What happens when you die? Does God allow evil, or do human beings choose whether or not to be evil? Do we human beings have free will? Is there a reason each human exists? For the speech, as I said in the beginning, I want to focus on past choices and future goals. I learned that Rosh Hashanah actually has two very different names. One is Yo Hadin, the Day of Judgment, and the other is Yom Hara Olam, which means the day of birth of the world. To me, both of these names are very related to past choices and future goals. First, let me say something about Yom Hadin as the Day of Judgment. I think of the day of self-reflection, looking backward, and also a day of setting goals, looking forward. Sometimes I regret something I did in the past that probably no one even remembers. Regarding this idea of judgment, Rabbi Meir and I talked about whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. Is it a good or bad for these to be an accounting of each person's action? My view is that it can be good because you can make better decisions knowing the mistakes you made from the past, but it could also be bad because you can injure yourself and not recover. Things we do might not be for the reason we first think of. The day of judgment push us to look for or discover the reasons for why we do things. To become more mature means to better understand why we make choices that we make, to do more things on our own, and to help others think about the choices they make. All of us can become more aware that the other people in our lives are as important as we are. All of this relates to the name Day of Judgment. But let's not forget the other name for Rosh Hashanah, the Day of Creation. I know that Rosh Hashanah is connected to the creation of the world. On this day, many people say Happy New Year to each other. That's like happy birthday. The reason that this is important is just as God created the world on this day, every year on Rosh Hashanah, we should try to recreate ourselves. To celebrate creation every year means that we should reflect on how to recreate ourselves. What new goals do we want for ourselves? I think that one of the common problems that kids my age face is that we want to be like other kids. We want to be noticed, be liked, and so we act the way popular kids act. But I think Rosh Hashanah, with both of its names, teaches me and all of us not to compare ourselves to others. Rather, we should try to reach for what is ours, rather what might be others. Each of us should believe in ourselves that every one of us is special and have a special kind of gift that the world needs. I usually think of things that I want, but I don't think about being like other kids. I think that this is important to not trying to compare ourselves to other people, but rather be who you want to be. I'm happy to learn that this is one of the messages of Rosh Hashanah. Becoming a bar mitzvah. Becoming a bar mitzvah, no matter what time of year that happens, is similar to Rosh Hashanah. No matter what time of year, every bar mitzvah is expected to become more responsible, to be more understanding of other people, in the sense to make ourselves new. One way we try to grow into young adults is by learning about the lives of our parents and grandparents. With that in mind, I look forward to learning from my parents and grandparents what it was like for them when they became the ages of a bar or bat mitzvah. Part of the bar mitzvah experience usually involves a mitzvah project. In these last months of COVID, it's been very hard. I know that there are numbers of people who are hungry has doubled and tripled. When I am able, I really want to do my part in helping people who are much less fortunate than I. There are a number of wonderful projects at Temple Beth-El that have this goal, and I really hope to participate very soon. Lastly, becoming a bar mitzvah means recognizing and thanking people who helped me get to this moment. So I want to thank Cantor Adam. Even in these very weird times, you helped me so much. It was special for me to find that I could actually read from the Torah. I also carry the melody of Torah as well. That's been a really cool thing for me to see about myself. Rabbi Meir and Tara, you guys are very special. I could have never gotten here without your help. I appreciate you so much. Mom and Dad. Mom, you take care of me in so many ways. You make sure all of our most basic and important needs are met. You remind me of the things I have to do. You help me basically with all matters in my life. With homework, with friends, with my food, my exercise. You make me walk 15 minutes a day so that I can get my sunlight and exercise. Dad, you help keep me on track. You make sure that I'm not lazy. You help keep me focused on work. I always appreciate when we speak on the phone. You help me see my future and how important my work today will impact my future. Dear Skylar, it's so good you are around when I can't see my friends. I know that I shouldn't be saying this, but you are fun to bully. You are very smart. I don't know how smart the average 9-year-old is, but there are many times when I see how smart you are. You are kind with so many people. I know that I always make it easy for you to be kind to me. I promise that I'll try to be a better brother now that I'm a bar mitzvah. Grandparents and family, I love you all so much. I'm so lucky to have you. My grandpa in Florida told me that he had the German measles and a 104-degree temperature the night before his bar mitzvah. There were 300 people at his bar mitzvah, and he made it through, and he had a wonderful time. My grandpa in Westchester told me that his bar mitzvah was in 1948, the same year that Israel was born. His family had little money, so he had a bar mitzvah in his apartment, and it was a wonderful occasion. Yeah, I did it. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Simen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simen Tov, Yehelanu, 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 Ulecho Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulecho Yisrael. Lai, 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 lai. Eitz Chaim hi, lama chazikim ba, ותומכיה מאושר דרכיה דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיה שלום השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה חדש ימינו כקדם.
You want it to be there or here? No, but you want to support this.
Thank you, everyone, for celebrating Joshua's bar mitzvah with him today, whether you are in person or remote. Thank you, Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Tara, for all these years, from Joshua's baby naming to nursery school and then Hebrew school, and now his bar mitzvah. You have been absolutely wonderful to my family. Thank you, Cantor Adam, for working with Joshua. These are unusual times with the pandemic, and you were able to take over the role of Joshua's previous cantor and work seamlessly with Josh. You even had a session with him via Zoom while we were driving in our car on our way to Acadia Park in Maine. Joshua, I am so proud of you for becoming a bar mitzvah today. You did an amazing job on your Torah reading. You may not realize this, but when you think about it, you worked really hard on building up to this day. Your first day at Temple, you were just a few months old, and when you were born, Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Tara did your baby naming. You started a nursery school here with Mora Aviva and Mora Phyllis, and then continued with religious school after a full day in public school. And even though you may have not always paid attention in class, all those years of going to synagogue or a Sukkot rooftop celebration or the 6th grade retreat add up to the big picture. Joshua, I know there've been many times you've questioned religion, but today is about the Jewish celebration of becoming a young man, a bar mitzvah, and being accountable for your actions, which means when you don't do your Spanish homework and get in trouble, you can only blame yourself. When you picked out your tallis just last weekend, you said, "Mommy, why are you making me wear a tablecloth?" Then you chose a tallis, and the first one you chose is the one you stuck with. I try to influence you to try something more elaborate, something maybe I would choose for myself, but you stuck to your choice. And I said to you that buying this may not be important to you right now, but one day it will have more meaning to you, and you'll remember your special day, your bar mitzvah. You'll wear it when you go to temple for holiday services. You might wear it when you get married. You might wrap your own baby in your tallis when you have your baby's naming. Joshua, from the moment you were born, I saw you as a beautiful, sweet boy with a smile and laugh. But I didn't know the first thing about how to raise a boy. You have brought so much joy into our lives. You taught me the greatest superhero of all times, Spider-Man, and your love for Legos, and even to this day you build with occasional Legos. Now, I wrote here a book, and I'm not going to read it. I just want to share a few small memories. We went camping in a tent as big as a trailer. We went to see the solar eclipse in North Carolina. We've had so many great experiences. So I'm going to scroll down to the end and just let you know that Joshua has always stuck with his devotion to technology. When he was a young child, I worried endlessly about him. What would he be? Who will his friends be? How will he do in school? And today, I don't worry an ounce about Joshua. You're going to be very successful. Your love for technology and coding is going to make you a superstar. I am so proud of you for all your dedication to everything and all your hard work. I love you.
So it seems that a lot of fathers feel a lot of pressure about making a speech like this for their sons on a day as important as today. There may be an expectation to sum up a boy's growth and evolution, provide some type of endearing retrospective, and maybe impart some wisdom all at once. I don't feel this pressure. I think these things come naturally because of who Joshua is except maybe the part about my giving some wisdom at some point. I remember when Janine was late in her pregnancy with Joshua, she mentioned he did a lot of flips and somersaults. And I decided to take this as a sign of energy, playfulness, curiosity. And I started to think of him as Curious George. And I thought of him as my little monkey on the way. I was pleased when he actually enjoyed watching the cartoon. This was actually a very long time ago. And of course, he is now a young man. There's a deli not far from here where it says on the wall, "Today I am a man, tomorrow I return to the 7th grade." Of course, Josh is in 8th grade, but I do like the sentiment. I think from the beginning, as many parents say, his personality was clear and pretty much fully formed. He was and is honest, smart, giving, witty, empathetic, occasionally funny or silly, and easygoing. What an ideal combination. Something that I think a lot of people would aspire to. I certainly don't have all those traits at once. Early on, I thought, how can one convey that you look up to your toddler? To this day, there are very few situations where I've seen him outwardly show stress or anxiety for more than an instant. Way back when, I feared this sensitivity would naturally lead to things like separation and anxiety and all manner of related problems. This didn't happen ever. We were pleasantly surprised. It seemed he had the best of his parents. When he was about to turn 1, or actually rather on the day he turned 1, we were in Stepping Stone Park here in Great Neck. I was running around and feeling stressed because we didn't quite have enough time to get everything ready. It's a bit more work than we thought. I took a glance at the parachute we had spread out with various toys and colored balls to play with. He was crawling on it with a look of total contentment, ease, and happiness, just living in the moment and enjoying the beautiful day. I was instantly calm and relieved. Of course, he was simply happy playing there on a great summer day, but he consistently shows a combination of optimism, calm, and happiness, and it is truly something for everyone to strive for. On a lighter note, when he was about 2, I had a stuffed nose, and he said, "Just get a tissue," and I said it won't help. And I realized he was at an impressionable age, and I didn't want him to avoid tissues his whole life, so I said, "Oh, you're right," and it did help. And he quickly said, "Daddy, why are you not so smart sometimes?" And I think he still says that occasionally today. On other times, he's flattered me. I once overheard him telling his classmates when I visited that my daddy's taller than the Thomas chart. So this was a hang on the wall Thomas the Train chart, which I think topped out about 4 feet tall. But I towered over that. As you close in on my height, I think you realize I'm not so tall after all. And I'm filled with hope you'll crack the lofty perch of 5'9". Despite his warm and giving personality, he didn't necessarily hug all the time that I wanted, or maybe provide loving words of affirmation as much as a first-time father might expect or hope for. But there was one day I won't forget. We were in the park together, and he was playing on the swing, kind of doing it the wrong way intentionally, put his stomach on it. I looked away for a minute, and then I heard him screaming and crying. His face was covered with sand. It was practically in his eyes. So I scooped him up and washed him in the restroom and then began to stroll him home. A couple of minutes after we started out, he was very silent, and I assumed he'd fallen asleep. So I stopped the stroller and walked around and crouched down to see if his eyes were open. And they were, and he quickly reached out and hugged me. And I said, "Why did you do that?" And he said, "Because I love you." The feeling of lightness and love I had at that moment, it's something I can never get over. As Skylar's birth approached, Joshua seemed excited and once again surprised me. A sensitive child who never for a moment felt fear or jealousy from the prospect of a new sister. We were even at a pet store one time, and there was a talking parakeet, and Joshua said, "I'm gonna have a baby." He also told the parakeet that he had new sneakers. In a park, I overheard him tell a boy he just met, "My sister's name will be Alien Space Storm." And after her birth, this excitement lasted a while. One morning, he told me, "I don't need the TV. I'm just gonna look at the baby." Around the same age, he asked me kind of out of the blue if there are an infinite number of infinities. I asked him what he thought, and he said yes. He's of course correct, and I instantly knew he would be good at math and science, and he's since proved me right. When he was older, Joshua and I trained in martial arts together. We did kickboxing and jujitsu, and even competed in tournaments. Around age 9 and 10, I noticed that other kids that Josh had to compete against were getting the eye of the tiger, as they say. They looked pretty nasty, and you could see the aggression in their faces. Josh doesn't have natural aggression. He relied on technique and practice and calmly executed what we'd studied for years. I was proud that he was what martial artists call a technician. He relied on proper technique and didn't succumb to poor execution because of emotion or fear. I did a little research to understand why age 13, and many people ask me that. The age 13 is mentioned in the Mishnah as the time one is obligated to observe the Torah's commandments. Elsewhere, the Mishnah lists the ages at which a vow is considered automatically valid. The Talmud explains this as the result of the 13-year-old being a man as required in Numbers. For 1 year before this age, the vows are conditionally valid, depending on whether the boy or girl has signs of physical maturity. So now, Joshua, your word is your true vow, and assuming you have not broken any commandments in the past, it's certainly something you can't do now. A father feels occasionally that there might be some requirement for advice about women in such a situation, because I've known women and I know more about love and things like that. And after careful thought, I've concluded I can't think of anything useful. So perhaps in a few years, I'll come back. But I can say something about what I think it means to be a man. I think it's largely about realizing one's potential. I use the word realize intentionally, as it can be thought of in two ways. Of course, it means to achieve or live up to one's potential. But for a young man, it also first requires a realization that the potential is there. And in your case, it's tremendous. I have watched Joshua become more confident in his abilities and continue to grow emotionally. Joshua does this without ego, and he has always made fast friends in so many situations. I can easily see why. Despite the draw of video games, YouTube, and other screens, as they say, you will achieve your full potential for focus, attention, effort, kindness, and doing what's right, even when it's hard. You have done this before, and I know you will continue to impress me, inspire me, and fill me with love.
As we celebrate this moment on Josh's journey, please join me on page 341 for the words of Lechi Lach. Lechi Lach, to a land that I will show you. Lech Lecha, to a place you do not know. Lechi Lach, on your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi Lach. Lechi Lach, and I shall make your name great. Lech Lecha, and all shall praise your name. Lechi Lach, to the place that I will show you. Lesimchat Chayim, Lesimchat Chayim, Lesimchat Chayim, Lechi Lach. And you shall be a blessing, Lechi Lach.
So Josh, you can see there's a bag here on the table with some gifts from the congregation. This is a moment for your family, but it's really a moment for our community as well. You've been with us for a long time. I remember that naming. Wow. An amazing journey. And so there's a Kiddush cup, which you can use at those special moments along with that talit. It's from the Brotherhood and Sisterhood. There's a travel chumash. So it's a book of Torah that you can take anywhere, maybe to a college dorm room. There's the Jewish Book of Why, because the questions are as important as the answers, and a couple certificates, lest anyone should doubt that this moment has happened. And now Rabbi Meir is going to give you another gift which travels a little lighter than that bag.
So pre-COVID, and God willing, there will be a post-COVID. We generally stand at the ark with the bar and bat mitzvah. But for now, in these days, Josh, I want to ask you to come and stand at this table. You don't need your siddur. Stand maybe on the far side and just face me, if you don't mind. The other side, there you go. Yeah. So, Josh, I've enjoyed our time together enormously over these last months. As your parents said, and everyone who knows you knows, you are a smart and deeply thoughtful young man. You have a great and curious mind. You're polite, you're kind, and you care. My gift to you, Josh, as Rabbi Tara just mentioned, and to every bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah, is a verse from your parsha. So I want to read the verse just a little bit after where we got to. It goes, Ki hamitzvat hazot. Surely this instruction, which I give you this day, who v'lo rechokahi, who. It's not so far from you. It's not baffling for you. Lo b'shamayim hi. It's not in the heavens. But lo me'ever layam. It's not on the other side of the ocean. This unclear instruction. Ki karov elecha hadavar. For actually, this thing is very karov, very close to you. Beficha, in your mouth, ubilvavecha, and in your heart. Lastly, natati lefanecha. I place before you bracha v'haklala, blessing and curse, uvacharta b'chaim. Choose, take a guess. Blessing and choose life. So that's the verse. And I think this verse, Josh, tells us something that's relevant to all of us online, all of us here, all your family, really any person, any human being who's alive. And it's surely relevant to you and to this bar mitzvah moment. In this passage I gave you are two of the most famous words of the Torah. I read them a moment ago. Uvacharta b'chaim, choose life. Josh, all of us face this choice every single day. Every minute, in fact, God whispers to us to choose. Whispers to our parents, to our siblings, to our grandparents, to our friends, to our family. Choose life. Don't waste it. Choose it. But in fact, it's actually not so easy to do. Choosing life is difficult. It's demanding. Easier maybe it is to hide under our blankets and not come out. Challenging things happen to us every single day. So what's the magic insight? What's the formula? Your verse opens with the words, surely this instruction is not too baffling for you. But what instruction? This instruction? What's the Torah trying to tell us? What instruction? What's the big insight? And I submit, Josh, that the Torah is telling us that there is one fundamental challenge in life. It's how we relate to the people around us, people in our home and be outside our home. It's how we show up for others, how we work together. It's how we apologize, forgive, and learn from our mistakes. In Hebrew, we call it teshuvah. I love an analogy that I recently learned from Rabbi David Aaron, who lives in Jerusalem. Listen to this. He says, imagine you walk into a factory, Josh, and you see the people in the factory trucking in tons and tons of garbage. You then find out that the factory actually buys this garbage. The garbage is, in fact, a highly valued raw material. To them, garbage has value. This all sounds crazy until you find out that this factory is actually a, I guess, exactly, a recycling plant. They take garbage and transform it into usable products. What I realized in reading this, Josh, is that the recycling plant is a great way to understand our own lives. Garbage happens all around us. People we know and care about create garbage. We, of course, create some as well. You know, garbage. Anger, resentment, fear, judgment, bitterness, ... It's garbage. The question is, what do we do with it all, with all of it? What are we going to do with it? Answer, let's become first-rate recycling factories. We all need to learn how to turn the challenging experiences, the negative feelings, the garbage, into energy, positive energy, into something new that can add goodness to our lives. Our fears and insecurities, our resentments and regrets, Josh, are just waiting to be transformed into something uplifting, energizing to ourselves and the world. So that's what it means, Josh, to become a bar mitzvah. That's what it means to, quote, choose life, to confront our challenges knowing that they can make us better, like the recycling plant. Inside of every difficulty is an important question to ask and a life-changing idea to learn. It's pretty simple. It's not way up in the heavens. It's not across the sea, me'ever hayam. It's on your lips. Bilvavecha, it's in your heart. Every time. You can do it. We all can. And so, Josh, I want to close with my blessing for you, and maybe I'll ask your mom and dad and sister come stand by you. My blessing for you is this. First of all, may this moment be a lifelong memory. May you draw on this day in every challenge you face. May you discover that your troubles can be transformed into triumphs, that your garbage can be the foundation of your greatness. May this day inspire you, help you to grow in your confidence and kindness and care for others. May you think about choosing life every time the Torah comes out of the ark. Every time you happen to be in a synagogue or on Zoom, you see the Torah, oh my gosh, I remember my bar mitzvah moment. May we have many opportunities in the coming years to learn and grow and have fun together. May you feel tremendously proud to be a Jew. And finally, may you know that there are very few paths in life, if any, that will feed your soul as much as your Jewish path. To ask everyone to rise. Actually, you can rise if you're on Zoom as well, as Cantor Adam will lead us in the priestly blessing. And yes, Rabbi Tara will open the ark. Stand in front of you. Yeah.
Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Yisa Adonai panav eilecha v'chuneka.
There's a great light shining down from above. Feel the light of curiosity, of warmth, of kindness, of passion, and of compassion.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha vayasem lecha shalom. Shalom.
Josh, every time you look into the eyes, into the face of another human being, know one thing, that you're looking into the face of God. Every face you see is the face of God, which you know what it means. What does that mean? Every time we get to look into your handsome, beautiful, shining face, we're seeing the face of God as well. May this closeness to God bring you the ultimate blessing, the blessing of peace. Amen.
Amen.
Why don't we all turn around and we'll offer Aleinu together. 282.
Aleinu leshabeach la'adon ha'kol, lateit gedula liyotzeh v'reishit, shelo asanu kigoyei ha'aratzot, v'lo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kohem, v'goraleinu kechol hamonam. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
May be seated. As always, we take a moment for memory. In moments like these, we are standing on the shoulders of those who have come before, those who have made our lives and our families what they are. The Levine family is thinking of Lori Burns, so recently lost. And feel free to add any names to the chat if there's someone you want to say Kaddish for. This week marks the passing in our synagogue community of Beverly Spicer and J. Allen Ornstein, and in the last 30 days of Anita Green, Barbara Singer-Judge, Beverly Reckler, Millicent Zan, and Thea Zuckerman. We now rise together for the Mourner's Kaddish on 294. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב יאמרו, אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קדושה, לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן ביעלמה ויאמרו,
אמן.
יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו,
אמן.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו, אמן. You may be seated.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
Okay, your first responsibility as a bar mitzvah, you can hold the Kiddush cup while we offer Kiddush. And Skylar, why don't you stand next to him? Okay. So, sorry, I said you could sit down, but let's stand up We are on page 3. No. Where is Kiddush? We are on page 300.
Okay. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית העולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית העולם. ביני ובני ישראל עוד כי לעולם, עוד כי לעולם, עוד כי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית העולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית העולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. שמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Alkein barach Adonai et Yom HaShabbat vayikadsheu. Savri.
Time.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen. You are now a man, Josh, so you can drink that grape juice. I mean, that Manischewitz. Has he had Manischewitz before? No? Is it good? What do you think? It's pretty good, see? It's wine.
Let's offer both two together.
Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. Definitely have a bite. It looks like a good one. You can share it with your family. Just pull it right out.
What a lovely ceremony, what a lovely family, what a lovely young man. Take a bite of that lovely challah. What a lovely day. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat shalom. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom.
It's okay. No worries. No worries. It's okay. All right. Mazel tov, everyone.